Take a look and follow closely as we take you back to the green flag time, which was a while ago here at Dover as they held the 87th Sprint Cup Series race here. And Denny Hamlin, for the second week in a row, started on the pole, and he was followed 1, 2, 3 by his Joe Gibbs Racing teammates.
I think we overheard somebody on the radio saying, we cannot keep up with the Toyotas, and that is true early in the going. Kyle Petty, check this out. Denny Hamlin, Kyle Busch, they set sail.
Yeah, the Gibbs organization has got not only the engines things figured out with TRD, but when we look at these, when we look at the chassis, I'm telling you, Matt Kenseth has brought a lot to that team. We see Danica here go down into turn one, get in a little bit deeper than what I think she anticipated. She washes up the racetrack, gets into the 30 car of David Stremme. We see right here from this angle, she goes down, she's right on the apron, boom, she comes up. Everybody did a good job of avoiding this and not causing anything big here.
Kyle Busch, one of the best on this track and really one of the best anytime he is racing. He goes out and takes the lead. It looks like it was going to be a Kyle Busch kind of day, but this is just how tricky this pit road is.
We talk about this all the time. Here's Denny Hamlin. He says, I'm going to make a pit stop. Whoops, whoops. I'm going too fast. And Kyle Petty, he comes in 10th. But after serving the penalty going around, he ends up 7th. No penalty, but he misses pit road.
Jimmie Johnson started in the 24th spot, but Kyle, it only took half the race for him to get up and lead.
Yeah, you know, and I think everybody expected this. Larry McReynolds talked about it this morning, how fast he was, but how loose he was qualifying. And you see him here passing really good cars. Denny Hamlin, we saw him lead, set on the pole, run early. We see the 29 car of Kevin Harvick that won last week. He's just slicing and dicing coming through the field.
Yeah, let me say, it's really hard to drive a car loose here. So he does a great job. Pit road, here we go, Kyle. And it gets busy.
Matt Kenseth comes in second. There you see your leader, Kyle Busch, at the time, but he was able to get out before anybody else. And now Matt Kenseth is your leader. And if you look back at this season, KP, Matt Kenseth and Kyle Busch together have led almost half the laps.
It's crazy to watch these guys. They are just absolutely the Gibbs organization as a whole. If Denny hadn't gotten hurt, I think he would be right there. But these two guys run first and second from the majority first 50, 60 laps. And then right here, we see the tail of things to come. The 20 car has engine problems, pulls over. A couple of laps later, it's over with. He's in the garage area.
And the issue here is when Matt blows a motor, now all of TRD Motors and Joe Gibbs and Michael Waltrip Racing, now everybody is holding their breath. Oh no, are we going to blow up next? But we'll have to wait later to see that.
And they had good reason to worry because, first of all, Jimmie Johnson was taken off and taking the lead away from one of those Toyotas on lap number 207. Here he is about halfway through the race, and he is leading.
And that is pretty impressive because we didn't have a lot of cautions early in this race to allow for pickups on the racetrack or on pit road. He did almost all of this on the racetrack to get to the lead.
Martin Truex Jr. got his one and only victory here at this racetrack. Engine issues for him as well.
You know, this is a bad deal because if TRD gets these issues straight, they're going to dominate. And right now, 2 of the top Toyotas taken out of the top 5, and I'm sure they're as sick about it as Martin Truex is.
Two-time Dover winner Ryan Newman here gets into it with Jimmie Johnson, has to put up the hood on pit road.
Yeah, I'm not sure what he was doing. I don't know if Jimmie slowed down or if he was looking down, talking on the radio, if Newman was. All of a sudden, Jimmie was in front of him and he stops.
Let me say this. Ryan Newman said, I have no power steering.
And then there's what happens with no power steering is he got into David Gilliland. Gilliland wasn't too happy.
Yeah, Gilliland wasn't happy. And he got into Gilliland in the worst place. Right here coming up out of 2. He gets him in. Watch this 38 car take off up the racetrack. That's a dead slide all the way up 15, 20 feet into the wall, bounces off and comes back and gets Ryan. But honestly, that's the place you don't want somebody running into the back of you. And you can see David wasn't too happy about it.
Tough break for Gilliland, who was putting together a pretty good day. And here comes Kasey Kahne. What happened here, Kenny?
Well, remember I was talking about if you can drive a neutral car here, you're fast. Well, this was too neutral, on the verge of being loose. So the 5 gets down there, does what we call the death wobble. Can't hold up and hits the wall.
And here, trouble for Denny Hamlin. You know, he was on that tear trying to make it back up into chase contention. This is going to hurt.
Yeah, and that's going to hurt him physically, too, because he blows that right front or cuts it and goes right up into the wall, and he's still sore from his back injury.
Time now for our Polaris razor-sharp pit crew, and that was the number 42. They said, take 2 tires, and that's what they did.
And I'm going to tell you what, when we looked up and Juan Pablo was leading this race, we know how hungry he is. He has not won an oval NASCAR race ever. So Kyle Petty, this is his shot.
This was his shot at winning this thing. And we see the restart. Juan is the leader right here. There's a mark on the racetrack. You can see it right there. They're just getting to it. And Jimmie takes off. And I'm not sure what Jimmie was thinking or what Juan was thinking. Juan is the leader. He has control of the race. If you don't go in a certain time, then it's Jimmie's prerogative to go. Jimmie took off, tried to give the position back, but they black flagged him.
The black flag came out. Tough break for Jimmie Johnson, and here's what he had to say.
NASCAR. Please look. I checked up to give him his spot back, but he blew it so bad.
So tough break for Jimmie Johnson, goes back to pit road in the 17th position, 1 lap down, and now we have a completely different race.
Yeah, let me just say this. When a 5-time champion is begging, pleading, please NASCAR, I mean, he does that work all day long, and they say, you're done, pull off the track.
Juan Pablo Montoya was hoping to get his first oval win in Sprint Cup competition, but he had to hold off a charging Tony Stewart to do it, and there was no stopping Tony.
No, Tony's one of those guys where you get him within sight of the checkered flag, he's like a horse running for the barn. He's going to beat you back there, and that's what Tony did. He worked him, he cut the lead down, and when he got to him, he didn't even mess with him. He just drove around him on the outside.
Been a while for Tony Stewart, and he was hungry as he comes around to take yet another win at Dover. One of the places he says he feels like is his worst racetrack. Well, he conquered it today.
Yeah, and there's been rumblings. Is Tony Stewart running too many dirt World Outlaw sprint car races? No, he is not. Keep running that dirt, Tony Stewart.
Well, obviously something's working out for Tony Stewart today, because one of the toughest racetracks on the season finds him in victory lane. It's Stewart first, then Montoya, Gordon, Kyle Busch, and Brad Keselowski in the top 5 after some tough finishes. Clint Bowyer, Joey Logano, Harvick, Mark Martin, and Dale Earnhardt Jr. round out your top 10.